Hello, everyone. Welcome back to EF Live. My name is Jake Davis, your host as always, and hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the show at this new time. We are coming at you live 10 a.m. Eastern as opposed to 2 p.m. Eastern, and we hope everyone here is doing well. Today with me, I have James Rule. James, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you
I'm
doing,
doing
Jake?
really well. I'm actually running on not too much sleep here tonight. And, as some of the viewers know, I am a soon to be graduating electrical engineering student. So we've been finishing up our senior project and we have our big presentation actually right after this. Right after this episode, I will be getting ready to head down there for that. So I'm a little tired, but it's all exciting. James, thanks for being on with me today. You want to go ahead and just tell the viewers a little bit about who you are and why you're worth listening to about Amazon Associates.
What's up, everyone? My name's James Rule. I've been doing online marketing and particularly SEO for about 8 years now, 8 or 9 years now. And within the past maybe 4 years or so, I really struck it pretty big with one of my Amazon affiliate sites. And it's doing high six, not, I mean, yearly it's in the mid six figures range, and monthly it's in the four to five figures a month. So
And
yeah, it's doing
yeah,
quite
and
well.
it definitely sounds like it. So when you talk about that business, one cool thing with Amazon Associates, and I want to touch on this a little bit more later, but one cool thing about Amazon Associates is the relatively low time commitment once you already have things up and running. So is this a business where it's pretty low time commitment for you?
It's extremely low time commitment. It's If people heard how much I worked compared to how much money I make, they'd probably not be very happy. Well, it's funny you said how you haven't gotten much sleep this weekend, and I'm on the same boat as well. But it's because we were in Thailand for the Thai New Year called Songkran, and it's basically the entire country shuts down and has a massive water fight with squirt guns, everyone pouring buckets of water on top of each other. It's absolutely insane for about 4 days. So yeah, I didn't get much sleep during that as well, but didn't work much either. So
I mean, a giant water fight sounds amazing. So what you're saying is that while I am here, working super hard on this engineering project, you are out there squirting people with a water gun.
yep,
Hey,
exactly.
living the life, man, living the life, and that's all due to Amazon Associates. So I mean, guys, clearly, he has a bit to offer in the name of Amazon Associates. So we're gonna, cover a little bit on that later. Before we get to building a White Hat Amazon Associate site, I do want to just kind of run through some stuff with the show again. Again, I am Jake Davis. I am your host coming at you each and every week with Empire Flippers. The goal of this show is to provide all of you with information that would be helpful in buying, selling, creating, and running your own online business. So, with all of that said, when we're done with our the information we want to give, we're going to be doing Q&A at the end. So before you head out here, make sure that you post any questions you have on either Facebook or YouTube chat, and we'll try to answer as many as we can. But can we and then also, we're going to be giving away free Empire Flippers merchandise to some of the best questions that we see. And so just really want to get all of you involved. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna be fun. And uh, how's everyone doing? Can we get some? Where are you guys coming at today? James, you're coming at you here in Thailand. I'm
Bangkok, yep.
I'm in Orlando, Florida. So hope to see some cool places. Last week we had some U.S., we had some UK, we had some in Asia. It's a pretty worldwide audience, and that's pretty cool. So, James, thank you so much for being on with me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm a big fan of Empire Flippers and what you guys do, and I'm close friends with Mike Swiggy and a few of the other guys. So, and a big shout out to
Hmm.
Greg. Uh, yeah, yeah. So, um, yeah, I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing. Joe and Justin are awesome guys, and I think you guys have an awesome business. So, yeah, happy to be
Awesome.
here.
Thank you. I mean, thank you for saying that. That obviously means a lot. Uh, in the previous weeks we've had a lot of other Empire Flippers team members on to run through, just some teaching stuff that they're experts on, and now we're kind of reaching out to James here because I mean, as he shared his story, he clearly knows how to build an Amazon associate site. So with all of that said, let's kind of dive in on this. And our topic for today is building a white hat Amazon Associates authority site. And so I think the first thing that we need to just define here is, James, what exactly does it mean to be white hat?
Well, there's a lot of levels of white hat, really. I would say I'm definitely not like the crystal clear white hat Moz SEO type uh, picture of it, but my idea of white hat is more you do outreach. Outreach is, I mean, technically it's not considered white hat because any link that you get unnaturally is considered not white hat. If you really go by what the definition is, but what I do is uh, I do white hat in terms of outreach, and I occasionally will pay money for really high quality links. I'm very very careful about the links I buy, of course, but in terms of like on a publication, let's say on business.com or something, I might pay a couple $100s for an article to be written about that. That's going to not only drive link juice to my site, but also traffic, which is a huge ranking factor I've found. So, um, sorry, your question was, what does it mean
Yeah,
to be a white hat?
exactly.
I want to
Yeah.
get there. Um, uh, yeah, basically a white hat SEO is you kind of follow the rules that Google wants you to follow, and I'm kind of I guess I'm in between white hat and gray hat, maybe like, I don't know what that would be, but in between there somewhere. Because I don't do PBNs, I don't do. I think as soon as you start doing PBNs is where you really are no longer white hat for sure. You like officially crossed into gray. So I stay away from PBNs and pretty much any type of. I just want my site to be really high quality. That's all I really care about. I don't want to have to worry ever about the site getting hit with a penalty. And so far to this date, I mean, fingers freaking crossed, I've not had a penalty on
Hmm.
that site. So
And we'll cover some of the things to look out for when dealing with gray or black hat SEO um, in a little bit. But when dealing with white hat SEO, James, what are some of the mistakes to avoid here?
when dealing with white hat
Yes.
SEO, the big thing is like cutting corners, which is something I had. This is not my first authority site I had built. I'd built quite a few, and I used to really try and save money on content. I would, hire people to write $2 per 100 words or something like that, um, and just like really just try and cut corners. I mean, even cheaper than that sometimes. And the quality of the content was awful. Um, if you're going to be creating a really badass white hat site, you definitely want to like not cut corners or just know where you can cut corners. Um, Content you really should invest heavily into it, and I think don't try and like if you can write the content yourself, that's fine. If you're a good writer, that's where you can save money on that. Or really hire somebody who's a
Hmm.
native English speaker. I'm sure you can find someone good that's English isn't their first language, but it's just going to be a lot easier. Just hire a native English speaker, um, and pay, if for good content, you're going to pay anywhere between 40 to 100 to $200 per article if it's a really long article. So maybe even more. I paid up to $500 for an article
And
before.
how long are
So
the articles that you typically recommend to write?
I was putting out content between 2,000 to 3,000 words, and then for really really long form content, I'd sometimes go all the way up to 10,000
Hmm.
words if I really wanted to. But the thing is, with those 10,000 word articles, what you could do is what I found you could do is you could just use that to get links. And all you had to do was just message people who were linking to your competitors and be like, hey, look, I've got this article. It's 10,000 words. It covers
Mm-hmm.
everything. I think it's better than the article you link to. And like, they don't even read your article. They're just like, whoa, 10,000 words. Yeah, that's awesome. I'll link to it. So I got a ton of links that way, just like taking my competitors' links.
So, would you say that's
Um,
been your primary strategy when going about growing your site? Is you just sought out all of these, safe, natural links to, you reached out to people to try to get them to link to your site?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for sure.
And
And plus, like really quality content. I have a very long time on site. I mean, Google knows my quality
mm-hmm.
is good. Like they know quality site.
When it's dealing then with either gray or black hat, first I guess we need to define what gray and black hat are. We kind of already covered that a little bit, but can we just dive more into just specifically what does it mean to be gray and black hat?
In my mind, gray hat is PBNs. It's kind of like yeah, it's PBNs. Anything to do with PBNs, it's all gray hat. And then black hat is where you get into spam. I mean, where you're just creating tons of spammy links, whether it's to your site or to sites that are linking to your site, tier two links, etc. Um, that's definitely black hat. And then you want to go a step further, is using stuff like the Russian link network, or what it's called. Man, I'm blanking on this, but basically buying hacked links. That's pretty black hat. So yeah, in my mind, that's what I think of it. Maybe other people have different definitions, but the way I kind of categorize things is black hat is spam, like just hardcore spam, and gray hat is a little bit more non-spammy, a little bit safer, a little bit uh, yeah. It's just like PBNs. If you do PBNs well, like if you do really really good PBNs, then you'll be relatively safe.
And the
So
reason why we're talking about all of this link building and it being important to grow your site is the main thing that helps, the main traffic source for a lot of Amazon associate sites is just, organic traffic from Google that comes from having good SEO work. And just to give a very broad sense for all of you, basically the more links you have linking to your site, the more Google thinks, okay, this is a good quality site, and we should definitely push this site to the top of the listing when you search for certain keywords. So with that said, how can gray and black hat fail?
gray hat or black hat is really easy to. If you don't know what you're doing, again, I mean, there are good guys out there who really know how to just do amazing black hat work, and they've been doing it for a long time, and they're just really good at it. They know how far they can push it. But if you don't know what you're doing with it, you can easily send too much of the wrong anchor. You can make the footprint way too high. Like it's really really easy with like just spamming to make it obvious that you're spamming. You can do a combination of like PBN and gray hat and black hat together, where you kind of send a bunch of profile links and stuff to your PBNs, and then you power those up in a certain way. You can even do black hat with your white hat, where you send a bunch of profile links or Web 2.0s, all those to your like really strong guest posts, and that can work for sure. I mean, I know a lot of people that do that, and they have a lot of success with it. Personally, like just I've I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I've tried black hat and I've failed every time, so I gave up on it. And for me, white hat was way
Mm-hmm.
easier. It was just, hey, I can just this guy and get a link, and it's safe, and I don't have to worry about spamming and setting up like proxies and doing all sorts of stuff. When I could just like literally send an email, and you can automate all this. Just send an email and be like, hey man, like let me get a link. That's way easier for me. And setting up PBNs, like knowing how to. I mean, there's so much tech behind it. I haven't set up PBNs. I used to use PBNs a lot back in the day when it was still based on PR. When I'd buy domains based on their page rank, not their, not DAA or TrustFlow or whatever they're using these days. Um, so yeah, I'm sorry, man. I tend to just
No,
go
no,
off
that's
what
good.
I was
No, that's good.
actually.
We definitely covered it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we kind of touched on this a little last week when I had Mike Swig on with me, but with all of that said, though, as James said, he knows people who are killing it in the black hat game. There are people who can set up PBNs and run those very carefully, and the reason why it can fail is because the PBN is definitely diving into where you're breaking Google's terms of service, and if you set up the links incorrectly, then Google will penalize your site. As James was saying, he's always tried to avoid that. But it definitely can be a good strategy if you know how to do it, and it's it's a good way to kind of jumpstart your site if you're just starting out. But with all of that said, as James said, you definitely want to be careful, and you either want to, if you're buying a site, you definitely want to make sure that the person you're buying it from knows what they're doing when setting it up. And if you're making one, look at examples from people who have established PBNs and are definitely making it work, because it's definitely high risk. James, what do you feel? What do you feel about someone who's starting out and they want to use a PBN to jumpstart their business? I mean, do you seem, to you, I mean, it works, right?
Yep. I don't. I mean, my personal take on it is like it's hard. You got guys like Matt Diggity who know they're testing stuff every couple months to see what works best, and they are on the ball. They really know what they're doing. I mean, they're doing like scientific level tests to see what's working with PBNs, and that's a whole nother level than what most people are willing to work into this. I mean, he's got a whole team behind it, and that's why he's so successful with it. But if you're a newbie starting off, it's so complicated nowadays, and to get into PBNs, I would just highly suggest just send out emails to people. It's so much easier. You don't like necessarily control the links. That's one criticism of it. You don't control the links, but that's fine to me. Like I'm always very very safe with my anchor text as well. I could always be more aggressive, but I just figure I'm just gonna build more links and I'll have super safe anchor text. I never have to worry about getting hit with a penalty. So and because of that, the site is coming on like 4 years old now, and never had a penalty. I mean, it could probably earn more if I was a little bit more aggressive, but it's done well at this point.
Yeah, and not having to worry about that is definitely you can go to sleep at night not having to worry about it.
Exactly. Don't worry at all.
And again, guys, PBN, this is complicated stuff. It is, as James was saying, something that if you want to do it, you should definitely learn how to do it. And, there are guys like Matt Diggity, I can't talk, who are doing it super well, and they research it. And it can definitely be done. But if you do have any more questions about it, be sure to ask them in YouTube or Facebook. Again, we'll be doing Q&A at the end, and the top commenters will get free Empire Flippers merchandise sent to them, which includes, may include a t-shirt, some sunglasses, some pretty cool stuff. So definitely ask us any questions you have. Now, moving on here, away from that stuff for now, and I want to talk about building an authority site. So, James, what are some of the strategies that you've utilized to build your authority site?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Some strategies I used. Yeah, I mean, my whole thing was, so this is, like I said, this isn't the first authority site I've built. So I had kind of an idea of like how I want the process to go. And I knew I wanted to build something big, like really, really big. I knew I was going to put a lot of time into this. I knew that authority sites, when you build a lot of links to it, everything tends to kind of rank. So that was my thesis on this. So when I started building it, basically my whole strategy was just quality. I wanted high quality everything, high quality links, high quality content. I wrote the content at the beginning myself to save money actually because I wasn't making much money at the time. Um, and so I wrote the first maybe 20, 25 articles. It was hell, man. I hate writing so much. But I wrote the first 20 to 25 articles. I did all the keyword research beforehand. I came up with probably about 350 different unique content ideas with all the keywords laid out using Ahrefs, which is like the best tool on the market if you guys aren't using it. Um, and then basically came up with a silo structure for all of them. And so basically, my silo structure was like you'd have the one main article, which I don't want to give away my niche, but let's say it was like uh, best phones, bestphones.com or something, and you have the main article is going to be best phones, and then that's going to link to the second article with the second highest amount of search volume, which would be like best iPhones, and then that would link from that to the best Android phones. And I don't know if this is the best like way to do things, but they would all kind of link around together and pass link juice to each other that way. And then the homepage would link also to each one of those. So it'd have like kind of a table of contents that would link to each of the top
Mm-hmm.
silos. So that was kind of what it seemed to work out well. I also, with my niche, it works really good on Pinterest. Not all niches do, but this one does, and I came together with a pretty good Pinterest strategy. Yeah, Pinterest strategy, and yeah, that one worked out well too. So, was there a specific like question about my strategy? Because it was really just like everything's
Mm-hmm.
free. Don't cut corners.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think that some of this stuff can be good to really kind of jumpstart you, like for instance the PBNs. But you gotta at the end of the day, you just got to make sure that you don't get penalized by Google for anything. You don't want anything to halt your progress when growing your site. And I mean that's why James, for one, always pushes for quality, always pushes for safety, because it's important. So another thing that's important is, as James was saying, social media. If you can build a community around your website, around your articles and your brand, then you can really establish yourself as an authority in that space. Is that what you've been trying to do with Pinterest here?
Yeah, I mean, I was like the first or second guy in the niche, and now it's like just flooded with copycats, all copying like my site exactly. It's super frustrating. Um, Literally, I mean, it's like the exact same domain name plus like a slightly different ending. It's super frustrating, but um, yeah, I mean, creating the Pinterest for me, I think traffic coming in your site outside of Google is really good. I think Google likes
Mm-hmm.
that. Um, so that was my whole goal was just to get as much traffic outside of organic traffic to my site. That was really the thing.
And
Yeah,
also, I mean, I say this if you've listened to a lot of the other EF lives, you've heard me say this, but as James was saying, this social media traffic is coming from outside of Google. So in addition to having, the same amount of organic traffic coming in, inside Google, it's just another traffic source that you can potentially reach more people. And social media is obviously you can run Facebook ads, but you can get a page up and running for free, and it's just another set of eyes that you can put yourself out in front of, to potentially
yeah,
drive.
different
I'm sorry.
different revenue as well. It's different revenue as well. You can come up with like AdSense
Mm-hmm.
ads or all sorts of those types of ads.
Yeah,
You can really get deep
yeah.
as
There's a
well.
lot
So
that you can do with experimenting outside of just the Amazon Associates, and we're gonna suggest some strategies shortly. But James, why would you suggest building a site with 100 plus pages?
yeah, I mean it could be anything. Maybe 100 is a bit much, but it's not really a suggestion. I think I sometimes think about, man, I wish this site only had like 15 pages because it'd be way easier to manage. Because when I have to make changes like across the whole site, well, it's not me. My VA has to do a lot of work. I feel bad for him, but 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 yeah, I mean it's still like a long process. So and keeping everything updated is in that aspect. It's a really big problem that I haven't really figured out a streamlined solution to yet. Like because products go out of stock. Maybe a product that was ranked number one is now like it's got 2 stars or something. It happens all the time. and that aspect of things is really hard to keep on track of it. But um, in general, the more content you have, like Google just thinks you're almost a news site. You know, they really think like, oh, this site is really high quality content. If each of those articles is getting traffic and high average time on site, low bounce rates, it's all good. I mean, I'll write pages that I know are going to get maybe 500 hits in a year max, right? Just because I just want as much, and if I have like 100 of those, right, that all get like 500 hits a year, that's a lot of extra traffic
Mm-hmm.
coming in. So I like to just pick up as much long tail traffic as possible, and yeah, that's it's basically the strategy. And it's easier to get natural links that way. Just a lot. The more content you have, like the easier it is to do a lot of stuff. And it is hard to get started. It took me like a year and a half to completely finish building out my site. But when it finally was, I mean, I get all sorts of traffic from
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. So
And I mean, this kind of goes back to what I said about the social media, where at the end of the day, you're just getting yourself in front of more people, and that, you know, getting in front of more eyes, getting bringing in more traffic can't can't hurt, uh, but
yeah,
I mean, James, when should you scale up your site? When do you know it's time to go from getting started to really trying to become an authority?
yeah. I mean, I think for me, I made the decision. There's a certain point. I mean, you obviously have to have enough money to scale and even build a team. Is it like as soon as you basically I didn't take any money out of the site until like I started making more than $10,000 a month. Every penny I got I was spending like $3,500 to $4,000 a month on content. I had two employees working full time, and that was another about $3,000. Um, and I was spending quite a bit of money on links. That was probably another $3,000 or $4,000. So everything was going right back into the site. I was just trying to scale as hard as possible. So your question is when? When should you do that? And I think as soon as you can, as soon as you can afford it. I mean, if I started over right now, I would start scaling right off the
Mm-hmm.
bat. I would just building as much content as possible, and then try and build links to it. And so as soon as you can afford it, like I would say, go for it.
And I mean, that also comes down to, I mean, also, if you're if you are the one who's writing the content, if you are the one paying for the writer or whatever it is, as you said, if you can afford the time or the money it takes to do it, you might as well do it ASAP, because you're just laying the foundation for the future.
Yeah, I mean, my idea is just get that content
Mm-hmm.
indexed, and even if you're not going to build links to it yet, like just let Google know that it's there. And who knows? I mean, Google is weird. Sometimes it'll just rank a page for no reason. I've had pages rank and beat out competitors where there's like no links to that page. I totally forgot about it, and it just happened to just rank number one for some
Mm-hmm.
reason. So you never know when that type of stuff happens.
Yeah, I mean, again, you could potentially get one hit on this site, on this page, and that one hit wouldn't have happened otherwise. So if you can, laying the foundation for more in the future, it's just getting in front of more eyes, and it definitely can't hurt. Speaking in front of getting in front of more eyes and bringing in more revenue, we want to take a look here at, say you have an established Amazon Associates site, and you want to try expanding into other sources of bringing other sources of revenue into your business. What are some options here? I mean, we have Amazon FBA, we have AdSense, other affiliate programs, but I mean, first off, why should you do this?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's tons of reasons of why you should diversify your income. Like there are tons of reasons because Amazon is amazing, but they have if you are not following their rules to the T, then they can screw you over big time. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys are all well aware of people who've gotten their accounts banned for what seems like no reason at all. You want to make sure you're following their rules for sure. But a lot of times there's better affiliate programs out there for your products that actually pay you better. Maybe they convert better. And if you just look out, go around and try and find them. So I'd say about 66% of the earnings on my site are Amazon associates, and then the other 33% are another affiliate
Mm-hmm.
program. Uh, and it's good that I found that other affiliate program because it's only covers a few products, but those products it just kills it for. And I've tried switching out Amazon for them, and it performs way better. Um, I mean, there's tons of ways to diversify your income. What I've done is actually partnered with a guy who knows how to do FBA. You guys sell FBA businesses, and I was kind of toying with the idea of learning how to do it myself, but I just didn't have the bandwidth at the time. This guy, he had already launched products in my niche successfully, so I was like, all right, man, let's get together. I'll push your products on my site, and I'll help fund like the creation of these products. So basically, we launched an FBA brand on the back of it, and so between the Amazon Associate or the Amazon Associates the other affiliate program and the FBA brand, that my income was very, very, very diversified. And it's really all about just de-risking yourself as much as possible. So even if Amazon banned my associates account, then I'd still be relatively okay. It's still gonna be worth quite a bit of money. And actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, with a more diversified structure, more diversified income on your site, it's actually worth more, right? A potentially higher multiple with Empire
Mm-hmm.
Brokers.
Yeah, I mean, definitely having. I mean, you're totally correct there. Having diversifying your income can definitely raise the multiplier that we evaluate your business with. And there are plenty of options to expand and diversify where your revenue is coming from, and you already covered quite a few of them. I think at the end of the day, for me, why should I do this comes down to not putting all of your eggs in one basket. If you are an Amazon associate business solely, and let's say, granted, Amazon is one of the biggest companies in the world, so it's not, I'm not saying I see this happening. But let's just say, just for instance, it does happen. Something happens to Amazon, they're gone. Your Amazon Associates business is, gonna, definitely not be doing as well if Amazon is gone. If you can't refer products on Amazon, but if Amazon Associates is only like a third of your business, you have something to fall back on. I mean, that's just an example, and obviously I don't see Amazon going away, but not putting all of your eggs in one basket is definitely a way to ensure that if something happens that is outside of your control, you're not going to be completely wrecked.
Yep. It's just about de-risking yourself as much as possible. That's why I don't do PBNs. Like I said, people can do it and they have success with it, but it's just I don't like. I'm very happy with my lifestyle right now. I get to go out, have a good time. I don't have to worry about work at all, and I just So I don't want to have to worry that my site's gonna fail or something like that. So
so
it's just
definitely de-risk. And let's say that you choose to go the Amazon FBA route. Is it, are you able to promote your own Amazon FBA products?
We do. We do promote our own Amazon FBA products.
That's kind of like double dipping then. So that could be a good strategy, because not only are you promoting and you get the affiliate share, you also get, obviously the sale on selling your product.
Yeah, but don't tell them. No, yeah, exactly. So it works out really well.
Is there any sort of potential risk with that? Is that entering into a bit of a gray area with Amazon, or is that 100% in the rules?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not the safest thing to do for sure, but I think that I don't. There's not really much of a connection unless they watch the show, which I'm actually a little nervous about. But it is a little bit risky. I'll admit that.
So again, guys, if you have questions about this, any of this stuff, definitely ask them in Facebook or YouTube, and we're going to be giving away free merchandise, so definitely get your comments in. We're going to be moving to Q&A shortly. So definitely, let us, know what you think and everything. We do have Quentin Hamp and Ziggy in here, and Ziggy's tuning in from Canada. So shout outs to both of you. Hope everything is going well. And before we do get to Q&A, I want to bring something else up with you, James, and that is, let's take a look at this listing here, and I have a question for you about it. So let's take a look at listing 44267 on Amazon, on Empire Flippers. It's 4-site Amazon Associates business package in multiple niches, bringing in about $3,000 a month. And the reason why I want to bring this up to you is because, as you mentioned earlier, PBNs are risky, and there's no doubt about it. It can be a good strategy. It can help people, but you're not going in completely risk-free. How would you feel about, and obviously, you yourself, you would have to check something out, but with Empire Flippers, we properly vet everything. We know, that all of this stuff that they say is so, it is so. And then I know personally this seller, he does this a lot, building Amazon associate sites. I mean, is this the type of situation where you would feel comfortable with this?
Yeah, so here's a few questions I would ask right off the bat. First of all, I would want to know if all four of these Amazon Associates businesses are they, first of all, are they all on the same Amazon Associates account?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a huge problem if they are, but sometimes you never know. Like if one site gets banned, then all of them
Mm-hmm.
get banned. So that's not a huge problem necessarily, but I just want to know. The biggest thing I'd want to know is if these are all built on the same PBN. If I would definitely want to have four different sites completely separate from each other, four separate PBNs. That would be my second question. And if they are all on the same PBN, I think that's a pretty big footprint, and I would
Mm-hmm.
not do it. Um, Thirdly, I would definitely say like you should really know what you're doing when you buy a site that's built with PBNs. Um, you may not know what you're doing. What you can do, and I'm sure Empire Flippers will tell you, is ask them: has this seller sold on your marketplace before, and has that site gone down since
Mm-hmm.
then? Um, and that would be a pretty good indicator. If their site is still up, if all the sites they've sold on Empire Flippers are built with PBNs, but they're all still earning money, then yeah, that's they probably know what they're
Mm-hmm.
doing. But if the last site they sold on Empire Flippers has crashed, then maybe you want to be proceed with caution for sure. That would be my strategy going into this. If you didn't really know, you didn't know anything about PBNs or any of the such.
So something that we see, I guess, relatively common on Empire Flippers is for there to be the seller having a PBN set up and the buyer to buy the business and then not take over the PBN, but continue to pay the seller a fee in order for them to continue providing in order to keep the PBN up.
Yeah, I mean, I personally wouldn't
Hmm.
want to do that.
So I guess my
Well,
brief question to you is, I mean, this is more of a personal hands-on thing, but would you want to have that full control? Would you want to take over the PBN?
I would want access to the
Hmm.
PBNs for sure, because you never know what they're going to do with in the future. I don't know. It's just, but if you don't know what you're doing, that's the caveat. If you don't really know how to manage PBN, then maybe it's just better to pay that fee to
Hmm.
them. So,
So,
um, yeah, I mean, personally, I personally would never buy a site with PBNs, but that's not to say that it's not a good deal for sure. I know it's not my risk. It's all about your risk profile,
mhm.
right? If you buy if you buy 10 PBN sites, then I bet you at least seven of them will be fine, and you'll still make money off of that. You'll still profit. So, and you guys even did I know Greg wrote an article at one point. It was something like 1 out of 5 were fine. Um,
Yeah, and it's, again, I just want to stress that this.
or not one.
I'm sorry.
It was four sites were totally fine out of the
Oh,
five
gotcha.
that they sold.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not. I mean, you can definitely do it and not get any sort of penalty. You can set them up correctly, and it's definitely. I want to stress again. It can be a good strategy, and as we covered in the last episode, you can definitely check that out if you want more information on the PBN. But it's definitely a way to kickstart your business and get you set up quicker. And with that said, there are no real shortcuts in life. So, as James said earlier, don't take shortcuts. So if you do want to go the PBN route, make sure you do your homework and you set it up correctly to build a foundation for the future where you don't get fined by Google and get your business shut down. I think at the end of the day, that's the most important thing.
Yep.
So, guys, we're going to move into Q&A here. And thank you to all of you who are joining us today. It's currently 10:41 Eastern Time, and we're going to get to questions. Before we do, I just want to ask a question myself to James, and then I see questions coming in, so we'll get to those momentarily. Before we do, James, my question to you is, would you prefer to build or buy an already established site?
Buy one for sure. If I have the money,
Mm-hmm.
buy one. Yeah, it's. I'm too lazy to build out another site, to be honest. I do plan on buying a site in the future, probably with after I flip my site. So, I, yeah, I would not. It's a lot of work. I would want to buy a very high quality site though, with done with really well links, really well good content. Um, yeah, I would not want to. I would not want to
Mm-hmm.
build my own.
So we have, and I'm sorry, guys, if I butcher any of your names. Definitely feel free to correct me in chat here, and if you come back again, I'll make sure I get it right. But we have Shantanu asking, what do you use SEO budget for? How much money do you use for link building, and do you buy links?
When I was going full blast, really like full blast, I'd spend anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 a month on links, and that was directly out of my profit. So, but if you can definitely build a lot of links for free, you don't need to spend all that money. You could do the outreach. You could do like really solid outreach. Send 100 emails a day with where you are promoting really good content. That's really the key here, though, guys. It's like you got to promote good content. You can't promote spammy content with bad English and grammatical errors, and even like the information is wrong, because people aren't going to want to link to that. You really have to promote really high quality content, and if it's really high quality content, you're going to get a much better success
Mm-hmm.
rate from just send 100 emails a day. You can do that manually in a couple hours, and you can get links for free. A lot of people are going to say, oh, pay me $100. Just don't even go with them. There's going to be people who will be willing to link to your site for
I
free.
mean,
You could easily build.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
just gonna add in and say the other thing with building good quality content is that if you do have good quality content, people are going to want to link to you, and you may not even have to search people out. Some people may just be referencing an
exactly.
article in, I know I've written blog posts and I've had to reference something, so I do my research, and you find the article that you find is worded the best and has the best information, and you link to them. So
Yeah, I get links
mm-hmm.
all the time.
So
Yeah.
definitely feel. I mean, you just said that you would not go with the guy who does say, um, "Pay me $100 and I'll link to you." But you definitely.
That It depends. I might, because I'm pretty loose with my budget, and if I want the link, I'll pay
Mm-hmm.
for it. But if you're trying to save money and you have no budget whatsoever, then yeah, you can just maybe save him for later. Put a little note in a different Google Doc of people that are willing to sell you links, and then when you have a little more of a budget, you can potentially go back to
And
him.
how much would you be willing? When you're starting out, how much would you be willing to pay for a link?
Just greatly depends on the
Yeah.
link. Um, I mean, typically I'll spend anywhere from 40 to
Mm-hmm.
150 if the link is really good. If the link is like really good, and it's going to drive traffic on top of all that, I'll spend $300 or $400.
So we have Tane Lloyd asking, can you explain the rules you were following on your anchor text for links? Is there a certain percent you go by that copies the anchor text exactly or closely versus something random like read this, etc.?
Yeah, like I said earlier on, I'm super conservative with my anchor texts. I just try to de-risk myself as much as possible. So this might take a while longer to rank for certain keywords, but I'm almost maybe 1%, 1 or 2% have the actual keyword anywhere
Mm-hmm.
in there, and I usually try to use the either domain name or like the domain brand, or yeah, like some type of general like click here or whatever type text. And what I'll do, I don't know if it actually helps, but I'll try and put the anchor text as click here right next to the keyword. So the anchor text will be like, click here for the best chia seeds,
Mm-hmm.
right? And click here will be the anchor text where it links to the site, and the best chia seeds will be right next to it. So it's kind of, I don't know if that works at all, but uh, seems to. I mean, my site ranks well, so that's what I do. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense. And, I mean, yeah, short answer, it does make sense.
Okay.
So we have Oliveira. What's up, James?
What's up, Jers? I know him from Minnesota. Yeah.
So Quentin Hamp,
Okay.
skyscraper link building versus guest post soliciting. Preference?
Skyscraper versus what?
Guest
Oh yeah,
post.
yeah. Skyscraper is pretty easy. I like skyscraper, but guest post also. I think skyscraper you can scale a lot harder.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because what you can do as well is you can get a link from skyscraper, and then you can ask, hey, can I also get a guest post? So you can scale, you can like doubly
Mm-hmm.
scale it. Uh, so yeah, that's I think skyscraper is much better way to scale your link building.
Rai Yugen, what do you guys think about this quote? Put all your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket by Andrew Carnegie. Um,
All, put all your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket.
so I think the
Um,
question is put all your eggs in one basket, but then be very careful with it. You know, like we were saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Um,
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, put all your eggs in one basket and then watch where you're
yeah.
walking.
I mean, what do you think of that, James?
Yeah, I like it. That's basically what I've done with this site. Is all my eggs are in this site. Well, not really, because I built an Amazon FBA business on
Mm-hmm.
top of it. I have other businesses as well that do quite well, but for the majority of my cash flow, it comes from this site. So uh, yeah, I guess I would say all my eggs are in one basket that I am walking
Mm-hmm.
very carefully
I
with.
guess the main thing with that for me is, again, something could happen outside of your control. Google could if
Yeah,
you have a 100% Google business, Google could change their terms of service. You know, do something to impact your business. If you're 100% Amazon, Amazon can, let's say you're only an Amazon FBA business. For an example, say you're selling pens on Amazon, and Amazon comes
right.
out with their own pens. They're obviously going to push their pens over your pens. Granted, the FBA program is a very solid program for Amazon. They make a lot of money from it. It was just an example, but things can happen outside of your control. So I, for one, am an advocate of diversifying if you can afford to. But definitely, I mean, I think that's a good quote and a good representation of if you are only having one revenue source, how you should handle it. Uh,
Yeah, for sure. And I consider myself very grateful that I haven't just randomly gotten screwed over by Google, because I have a friend who is quite well known in the community, and if I said his name, I'm not going to, but he had a site that was built better than mine and was white hat and did really well. And then it just randomly started going down, and he eventually, yeah, it went down to like maybe 20% of the all-time high revenue,
mhm.
and he eventually just gave up on it because he couldn't figure out what the problem was. So I consider myself very grateful that my site just hasn't been randomly attacked by Google. So
So we have. Oh, my thing scrolled. Where was I? Okay. Jamie Baxter, what incentives do high authority sites have to link to you?
um, I wouldn't necessarily say that high authority sites link to me, more just people who are in the niche as well, who have strong sites. And they're not necessarily an authority site, but they're like a blogger who's passionate about the industry. And he sees my site and he's like, "Yeah, that's a really good article. I want to improve my site by linking to your site." That's what they think, because my content is so good that they think it's going to improve the quality of their article to use it as a source.
So you don't go
So
to the niche leader. You go to the smaller bloggers who are very passionate about it, who would like
Yeah,
to
well,
link to good content.
I'll message, I'll message
Mm-hmm.
everybody. Sometimes I get the niche leaders who they're like, yeah, your content is really awesome. I'm happy to link to you. Um, yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised. Like people are, if you have good content, people are happy. If they think like, oh man, this guy, he's really trying to like um, do good things in the industry, like they'll be
Mm-hmm.
happy to link to you. So,
So let's see. We've got Mahmoud Fathi, and again, guys, I'm so sorry if I butcher any names. Definitely feel free to correct me. Um, I am a beginner with a limited budget. I've got one Amazon associate site that is making about $600 a month. Is it a good idea to sell it right now so I have enough budget to start a decent one all over again, or should I continue to try to grow it? I think, and I'll toss this over to James in a sec, but I mean, at the end of the day, the answer is going to be it depends. But I mean, it depends on what niche you're in. If there is potential to grow it more, if it's a dead niche, then in $600 a month, which $600 a month is not little by any means. A lot of people would love to have a passive income site that is making them $600 a month, but obviously it's no six figures a month. But yeah, if you're in a niche where $600 a month is the peak, then maybe it's not a bad idea to try to get out of there. But if it's a niche where if it's a site where if you put in the time you can grow it more, I mean that's a different conversation. What do you think, James?
yeah, it's basically the same. And keep in mind, correct me if I'm wrong, Jake, but Empire Flippers, you need to make at least $1,000 a month to sell with you guys, right?
I don't believe so. There are definitely sites that I'm pretty sure I've seen. I guess that's a
Okay, well, I'm not gonna, but I thought it was
mhm.
$1,000 a month, so that would be a goal to get to. But regardless, like you'll be surprised how quickly your site starts to grow if there's room to grow. If you've kind of maxed out your site at 600 bucks a month, like you're ranked number one for all your keywords, and there's no more articles that you can write, then yeah, sell it. But if there's still more content in the niche to cover, and there's you can still up your rankings, then you'll be really surprised. Like basically, my site went from like zero to $130 to like $400 to 1,000 to 2,000 to 4,000. It like started doubling, and then basically was increasing by like 30% a
Mhm.
month for a while. It's kind of capped out at right now around 25K a month. I'm hoping to grow it more. I actually have an SEO agency working on it. So,
And just to answer
um,
your question, James, yeah, it's $500. It's $500 a month for AdSense or Amazon Associates, and then it's 1,000 for Amazon FBA or e-commerce. So for this kind of site, $600 a
okay,
month is enough to sell it on Empire Flippers.
okay.
So yeah, I mean,
But yeah, we both pretty much have the
mhm.
same thoughts on that.
Okay, so we got Jenny Van Driel asking, James said he would rather buy an established website rather than build one. Would he buy a site with growth potential or a completely matured website?
Yeah, what I would do is basically what I'm doing now. I would. It depends. All right, so the thing is, my lifestyle right now is very hands off. I like to just travel. I'm in a new country every couple weeks, and so I'm very hands off. If I was full time, like, all right, I want to do this. Like, there's definitely a good strategy to buying a site and increasing the earnings on it. I know Matt Diggity does that all the time because he's a very good SEO. So he buys sites and he just like takes them from like $2,000 a month to like $15,000 a month in a couple months. So it's definitely a good strategy to do that. I personally, and this may not be everybody's choice, but I personally would just want to buy a really quality site and then hire a really good SEO agency to just manage the whole thing so that I just get recurring revenue, recurring
Mm-hmm.
income without having to think about it. And ideally, it will go up because the agency is doing stuff on the site. Ideally, it'll slowly go up. Um, that would be my strategy for that. Just because I'm pretty lazy and I don't really want to do the work to increase the
Yeah, I mean,
earnings.
I guess just to kind of reiterate what he said, I mean, it depends on Jenny. It depends on what you are looking for out of your business. If you're looking for something that you need to put a lot of time into, then maybe you should start more on the ground floor to where you do need to put the time in to grow the website. But if you just want passive income, then maybe looking to buy an already matured site isn't the worst idea for you. Uh,
But even then, like you could buy a site that you think there's a lot of growth potential in, and if you don't have if you have the budget, if you're maybe a stay-at-home mom or something, and you have time and you have the budget, it could be a great project to put your
mhm.
time into.
And
So
then with all of that said, you could definitely outsource. Like James said, he is a VA. You could definitely outsource a lot of the work too. So.
yeah, my entire everything I do is
Mhm.
outsourced at this point. So
So we have Galactic Bacon. James, for every deep link you build to an internal page, how many links would you send to the home page?
it's a tough one. Um, I definitely build a lot more internal links than I build to the homepage. So um, the homepage gets a lot of links just naturally. So I don't build too many links to the homepage, to be honest. I couldn't tell you an exact number, but I definitely build a lot more links to the inner
Mm-hmm.
pages. Because a lot of the inner pages, well, for one, the inner pages like cover on topics that are a lot more traffic. So I want a lot more competitive as well. So I try and hit those with as many links as possible. And I think Google likes to see a site that has a lot of links all over the place, right? They like to see that lots of pages on your site get lots of links, not just
Mm-hmm.
the homepage. So if I had to come up with a number, I'd say 1 out of 10 go to the homepage at most.
Shantanu, again, what key points do you consider as low competition keyword?
Yeah, so at this point, it's kind of second nature. I mean, you could just tell me a keyword, and I can probably tell you without even looking at it if it's low competition or not because I've been doing it so long. But what you can do is like a good rule of thumb is just type in the keyword, best chia seeds or whatever, and look at the top 10 results and see who's there. If it's like Live Strong, Huffington Post, all these guys, all these big players are in the top 10, then probably not a great keyword. But if you've got like a bunch of small little cheeky affiliate sites all ranking for it, that means it's possible for you to
Mm-hmm.
rank there as well. Because if they can, you can probably do it.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
definitely want to do your best to avoid putting all of your time and effort into targeting keywords that the big players are going at because they have the budget and the staff and the resources to.
and just their sites have so many
Mm-hmm.
links coming to it that anything they post is
Mm-hmm.
going to rank. So
So it would be tough, but definitely, I mean, that's a good rule of thumb. So, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. And thank you all so much for all of the questions. Those are great questions, and as I said before, we're gonna be picking a couple to send some free merchandise to. Um, so look forward to that, and we'll be doing that every week, or we'll be doing that next week too. I guess I can't speak for every week. But now, guys, thank you all so much for coming out. This was a lot of fun, James. I really hope that you enjoyed being on. It's clear that you have a lot of wisdom and experience to share in terms of building Amazon Associates. So I do appreciate you taking your time here today.
yep, no problem.
Um, yeah,
Thanks for having me.
everyone, if you are watching and you like the content, subscribe on YouTube, like the Facebook page, subscribe to our mailing list with Empire Flippers. We send out a lot of content like this. We really just want to help. We want this content to be, um, designed for you guys. That's why we do the Q&A. And thank you all so much for getting us those questions. And yeah, we'll be coming at you each and every week at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And looking forward to seeing you back here. Everyone, thank you all so much, and have a fantastic day.
All right, see you guys.